is my world.
Let's make it count.
I must practice tolerance. Next, GSL Season 3. Reversal. 2019 Mountain Dew GSL Season 3. Code S. Reversal.
What is up, everybody? We're now here in the Final Four of the GSL Code S. Today, a ZVZ, Dark versus Rogue.
Yeah, this is going to be an excellent one, no doubt.
Yeah.
The two best Zergs in Korea, a finalist in the World Championships versus a world champion. And, I mean, it's kind of an amazing moment, I think, because Rogue is not yet in BlizzCon.
It's kind of crazy.
He needs this.
A few years ago, he was basically, well, he was the best player in the world. He was the world champion.
Yeah.
But times have been changing. We also have two very different narratives here. We have Dark, someone who's dominated in Korea, and Rogue, someone who's dominated on the global scene, tournaments outside of the country. In fact, the only tournament Dark didn't dominate in recently was GSL versus the World, which had a lot of international representation.
Yeah, that is quite true. I mean, Dark did make it to a BlizzCon finals, but wasn't able to take that down either.
Yeah, was not able to win the whole thing.
No. As you can see here, here's our top four. 3 Jin Air members. I guess there's really no surprise in that. They just dominate always. It's so crazy. If you actually look, there's like a span of almost 3 years where almost every single tournament had at least a Jin Air player in the finals. It's insane.
Well, look, that investment really paid off for Jin Air. This team has just really performed. And tonight's going to be an important one for him here.
Well, they get someone in from the other side no matter what, but Rogue, he needs those points. Like, there's still a chance because Super Tournament coming up, so even if he loses today, I think there's a reasonable chance he can still make it. But he is leaving to the last second, my friend.
Yeah. And this is a serious opponent to go up against.
Yeah.
Dark, a Code S champion now. This guy is pretty terrifying.
Well, yeah, he's Dark. He's like, I guess Cyril now is the most respected Zerg, but for a very long time, Dark was like the most respected Zerg. There were like, if you talk to any Zerg players about it.
We're going to have a quick interview. Andy, go ahead and translate this for us, and then we'll all jump into our match.
Okay, before we get into tonight's match, we're going to have an interview with the 2 players competing tonight. And today's winner will be able to have great honor after achieving the victory today. And one person is aiming for the back-to-back GSL championship, and one person is aiming for the first finals. We're going to have an interview with Dark and Rob. First of all, Dark, last season you won the championship, and then you became the first Zerg player to win the championship ever since the Legacy of the Void. How do you feel? Well, during the Thanksgiving, I didn't go home and I kept practicing. In the finals, I'm going to see my family anyway, so I didn't go down there. Great confidence there, Dark. In the group nomination, you use a lot of strategies to get your ideal group. And how was the process? Well, watching the round of 8, I really cheered for Zest to win, but unfortunately he lost. But anyway, I'm gonna go to BlizzCon and have the ZVZ. So I'm just going to have a good practice today. Okay, now let's talk with Rob. And you finally break your round of 8 jinx, and you made it here, Rob. And Dark said he's practiced so much. What about you? Well, during Chuseok, occurring Thanksgiving, I went home and I saw my family, had good food, so I was able to take good rest and I also practiced at the same time.
이번에는 반대로 받고 왔다 이야기를 하셨는데요. 저그 중에서도 최강인 강민수 선수와 연습을 하고 싶다 말하기도 했었는데요.
You did practice against Solar, one of the best Zergs.
민수가 열심히 많이 도와주기
Solar did help me a lot in scrims.
몸이 좀 안 좋았어가지고
그래가지고 연습을 그렇게 많이 하지 못해가지고
But I couldn't practice
걱정이긴 해요.
too much, so I'm a little
만족할
worried.
만큼은 하시지 못했던 것 같은데요. 그럼 강민수 선수의 도움을 받으셨다고 했는데
But you said you did get help from Solar.
이런 구체적인 부분까지
So what
코치를
kind,
해주셨나요?
like in specifically, did you get the help
그
from?
빌드 하나하나 다 수정해주면서
Well, he helped me edit
도와줘서
all the
되게
builds and the
이기고
strategies.
싶어요, 저는.
빌드
So I'm pretty
하나하나까지
well
이렇게
prepared.
이야기를 하셨는데요. 이 이야기를 들으니까 박명 선수의
Well,
마음은
hearing
어떨지
this story,
궁금하네요. 연습은
let's talk
괜찮으셨어요?
with Dark. How did your
뭐
practice
저는
go?
괜찮았고요. 근데 병렬이 형이 좀
Well, as for
검사를
me,
부리시는데
it went
제가
fine.
민수 계정을 계속 보고 있었거든요.
It feels like Rogue is trying to let my guard down.
게임 중인 거예요. 근데 여기 앞에서 이렇게 좀 약한 모습을 보여주는 게 심리전이지 않을까.
But I think, you know, showing his weaker
분명
side,
연습을
I think
별로
it's just
못하신
all
것
kind of like a
같았는데
battle
하루
of
종일 켜져
wits.
있더라 이런 이야기를 하시네요. 박명 선수의 연습은
On the other hand,
그것도 궁금하거든요.
Dark,
저는 뭐
you know, I think the fans are really curious as to how your practice went.
그거보다 더 열심히 했고요. 좀 자신도 있습니다.
Well, I practiced really hard and I have
자신
great
있다
confidence
이야기를
today.
하십니다. 두 선수 모두에게 특별한 결승전이 될
And the
것
two
같습니다.
players are
이연속
both competing today, and it's going to be a fabulous day for sure.
남다른 의미가 있는데요. 2연속 결승 좀 느낌이
And
오세요?
Dark, you're aiming for your back-to-back GSL championship.
아니요, 옛날에 한번 해봐가지고 근데 2연속 결승보다는 2연속 우승을 이번에
Well, rather than going for two consecutive finals, I want to be a two
그렇군요.
consecutive
간절한 마음은
GSL
이병렬 선수도
champion.
마찬가지일 텐데요. 두 선수가 서로에게 한마디씩
And how about
나누면서
you guys
오늘 무대를 시작해 보도록
share a
하겠습니다.
message with each
먼저
other before
이병렬
going to the
선수의
match?
한마디 들어볼게요.
Rogue, you first.
네, 또 령우가 제가 생각하는 제 최고의 라이벌이라고
Dark is my strongest rival,
재밌는 경기가 될 것
so I think
같고
it's going to be a really fun game.
저는 솔직히 마음 되게 편해서
Honestly, you know, I'm like
이기던
really easy in
재밌는
my
경기를
mind
하고 싶어요.
today, so I'm just going to
최고의
play my
라이벌이다
best.
생각하신다고 하셨는데
Well,
박명
Rogue, you
선수도
just mentioned
그런가요?
that he's your strongest rival.
저도 뭐 그렇게 생각하는
What about you, Dark?
15년도 때부터 그런 소리 많이 들어왔으니까. 근데
Well,
아직까지 뭐
from
병렬이
2015, he kept
형이
mentioning that,
커리어가 더 높다 생각하고. 근데
but I feel like Rogue does have the
병렬이 형도 아직
better
거기서 안
career.
근데 부담이 없다는 게 좀 이것도 좀 거짓말 같아요.
But you know, I'm a little. There's a little
계속해서
pressure on
견제하시는
me today.
모습 보여주고 계시는데요. 두 선수는 나이도 비슷하고
And the two players
커리어도
are
좋은데다
quite similar in
또
age,
동족
and they
대결이라서
both have
오늘 꼭
stellar
서로를
careers.
이기고 싶다는 마음이
So I
클
guess
것
the two players
같습니다.
really want to beat
박명
each other
선수가
today.
2연속 GSL 결승 진출에
And Dark is
성공할지
aiming for his
이병렬
back-to-back
선수가
GSL
생애 첫
championship,
GSL 결승 진출에
and Rogue is
성공할지
aiming for his
두
first
선수의 상한선
GSL finals.
지금부터
Let's see
함께하시죠.
who wins today.
Aren't you afraid of the consequences? Aren't you afraid of the casualties? I'm terrified that we think it's normal, tearing apart who we think we know. Like animals, we all attack. It's sudden death with no way back. It's love for hate, hate for love. It's killing every chance we have to rise above. If we're never endeavor, it'll always be a mess. Getting colder and colder, forever distressed. Can we all just learn to love and coexist?
All right, welcome back. Again, two of the greatest Zergs of all time. Dark dominating in Korean tournaments. I should say winning in Korean tournaments. Rogue winning in the international tournaments, including the World Finals here. This has been a rivalry for some time now. I expect Dark to win it, and that's only because he won the last GSL Code S. But if Rogue wins it, I am not really shocked either.
Well, Rogue has had a hard time winning some of those domestic championships, like you say. You know, he did win a super tournament. That was his first kind of big win. But to be honest, when I look at ZVZ, I don't ever feel like that's Dark's strong spot. I never do. Whereas with Rogue, for most of his career, I've considered him the best ZVZ or the second best ZVZ out there. And I don't know, maybe some people disagree with me on that, but I think that his late game is the best amongst Koreans, and I think that he has enough range in the early game between some aggressive plays and, you know, just the regular kind of techs of like roaches and getting into lurkers and times and stuff. Yeah, no, I feel reasonably confident that Rogue should be able to take this tonight.
Let's see. I mean, I do think you make a good point with Rogue ZVZ being quite good. I feel like Dark tends to be a little bit more on the aggressive side than ZVZ is in CVZ. Maybe he's dialed that back a little bit, I guess, last season as well. But historically, he would rush in several of the games or do some type of timing attack. Rogue seems to be able to do pretty much anything, but it tends to have longer games, more drawn-out games. But it seems like the Korean ZVZ meta a little bit more friction-oriented, whereas the European meta is a lot more about trying to stretch the game as far out as possible and basically gain a better position as far as expansions on the map, as well as positions where your armies can attack in. We're going to start this off on Thunderbird. Game 1 starts now. Dark versus Rogue.
Gosu Crew, Dark. Jin Air Green Wings, Rogue.
Okay, so far the builds are mirroring each other. ZVZ is a match. I mean, we can kind of talk about the matchup generally speaking, but we really need to see where they start to the build order trajectory starts to show itself here. Basically, it's a matter of, do you want to rush and attack in? That can be used to exploit the fact that they may be overmaking drones. And if you do a lot of damage, then you might end up winning there. But if it's held off, the player has the adequate defense, and it deflects all attacks, then you might be at a disadvantage. You invested in attacking units. Well, they probably have a few more drones than you, but also had enough attacking units to hold you off. And then there's also, of course, the possibility of a passive mirrored game where both sides are continuing to tech up, and there's various tech branches and options from there.
Well, one difference we see is the gas timing here.
Back again from the Netherlands. Welcome.
Excellent. But yeah, so just a little bit difference as far as gas goes, with Rogue skipping his thus far, which is actually kind of extra interesting to see.
Welcome, everybody. Good audience tonight.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, I want to mention, with the lack of gases from Rogue, he mentioned he was practicing with Solar, right? That was part of the interview.
I think you're correct on that.
This is a very Solar-esque thing to do, to skip your gases, to power up a little bit harder, and then go into Roach. Just kind of foregoing things like the speed upgrade for Zerglings. So that's, yeah, I find that really kind of cool and interesting, because we don't see Dark play this particular style that often. So notice he is immediately going to get that creep going towards the ramp, because if you play like this, you absolutely must end up walling. We'll see if Dark figures out what's going on. There is a possibility you could go for some sort of aggression with Lings and Banes to try to bust through.
If you were going to go for a build where you would opt out of Zergling speed, it seems like this would be the map for it.
Yeah, it definitely could be a very good one.
Definitely one where you can shut out most of the map. Now we have two Lings that are going to get in here for a scout. Okay, with the Queens there and the way that damage was distributed.
And look how many Queens Rogue is making right now as well. He's making 3 Queens at a time there for a moment, which is super cool.
Now this Ling will get in here. He might be able to spot there's no gas taken yet. And
well,
he does.
Sees it. He
that's
sees
big.
It. Yeah, that's super cool. So
this is this is one of the things about if you don't get Ling speed. Lings with your Lings with speed actually help you stop their Lings with speed too. It's not just the Queens. So that's a good scout. That's going to give Dark a lot of the information he would have needed.
Yeah, notice how he's droning heavily. I'm getting chills because this is exactly what he should be doing here. He should get just an unbelievable amount of drones, because when you see that they don't have gas, there is literally nothing they can attack you with. You can't just make mass slow Lings, and you can't buy Roaches.
You don't
so
have
he
Ling
can
speed.
Do nothing but make... He doesn't need
no
a
Roaches,
single Zergling.
No Banelings.
Yeah, nothing.
Literally none of the things that we would incorporate with Zerg aggression early on are possible now. So he knows now he's 100% safe. He knows his opponent is cutting corners, and I think wisely chosen. He decides to instead completely focus on economics now and just building a strong economy and having a more robust mid-game here. Had he tried to be a little bit aggressive and it didn't work out, then this would put Rogue in the advantage. But Dark, I think, with very good decision-making after that scout.
Yeah, he's keeping up with the drone count despite getting gassed quite a bit earlier, so that's really kind of cool. He's getting his layer quicker as well. Gets a good scout off there with his Overlord speed. Melee upgrade here for Rogue. Very cool. I mean, I would imagine he's going to go into Spire with this then.
I think so.
Right? You'd have to.
It's going to tech into Mutalisks and probably have just a lot of Lings with speed on the ground, some Banelings as well. We have
utilize the size of the map and stuff, you know, like run around, do some counters.
Well, on the 3 bases you have on this map, you can turtle up pretty heavily, but once you get outside of that area, there's a lot of open space to try to hit each other on.
Oh, this is so fascinating. Look at that. Even gets a carapace. Yeah. I remember there were some old Ultralisk rushes that were really interesting because obviously Ultras can fight against both Lings and Roaches. That would be really wild to end up seeing. There's the Spire. It goes down in a location that's going to be harder to scout, but even if Dark does not scout that there is a Spire, does this not feel like a Spire build?
It feels like it.
I mean, there are power builds where you get in a Roach, but...
And this might counter this nicely. So, we didn't get to talk as much about Dark's tech, but he's going into missile attack here and upgrading Roaches. Now, the Nidus network can bust out before the Spire really becomes helpful at all here.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Spine Crawlers being made over at the entrance here for Rogue, so he's ready to try to defend. But you can always have the Nidus network pop up somewhere where the Spine Crawlers are not.
Swarm hosts!
Oh. Okay, that's
Swarm hosts?
I actually just thought it was going to be 8 more Roaches coming out of those larvae, but well, hold on a second.
This is so weird.
He's going to get the Nidus network. It's going to pop up outside because with the Swarm hosts, you always put it outside their base adjacent, so you can shell them from a distance. But
are these guys clowning? What's going on here?
Well, this is clearly a strategy that's. He says, all right, if it's going to be my last Zerg versus Zerg on my way to the finals, I'm going to bring out a strat that he might not have much experience against. Here we go.
Dude, what am I even
It looks like Rogue's reacting correctly, though. He's immediately throwing his Spine Crawlers down here.
Well, I mean...
The Spine Crawlers are probably more expendable than anything else right now, since they're not going to have to hold off a giant Roach attack.
I mean, this... I'm trying to figure out what these Swarm hosts actually counter. I know it's not Mutas. Not, you know, like...
Do you think he was hoping that he could just chuck him out and try to hit a hatchery or something like that?
I think he was looking for a different tech, like any other tech. This is obviously a gigantic counter to what he's doing.
I don't know how many Swarm hosts you need exactly to just one-shot with a wave of hatchery, but it's interesting. I mean, it keeps the Mutalisks back, for one. The Mutalisks want to be flying around the map, picking off Overlords and drones and, you know, forcing out more defense, forcing the other player to make more queens. So, in a weird way, the Mutas are now used as a defense. But, you know, with the creep present here, because of course you can bring queens out like this, he is able to make anti-air.
Yeah.
And I guess in a game where you're just trading army into static defense, I love it that he's completely walled this off.
Yeah.
But
well, he doesn't have anything there really to defend, too.
Yeah, the Lings are still going to be a threat.
Well, the Mutas come over and catch all the Locusts, which is, again, you know, the Mutas countering them pretty hard. There's a Hydralisk Den on the way. So it looks like he is going to continue to tech up a little bit at least.
Yeah, he's trying to get that Evolution Chamber, but it's not going to happen.
This is one of the weirdest CVZs I've ever seen already. Like,
no, I'm genuinely...
It's so bizarre.
I'm totally intrigued by this, but as I'm watching the strategy unfold, I do feel like this gets better for Rogue.
Look, here's the thing. I'm trying to figure out if anything that...
Mutas? Right? How do you...
You would think so, right?
Right?
He should. This better be too many Mutas. That's a lot of Mutas.
I guess.
I mean, that's a lot of spores,
I'm not used to
too.
seeing these unit compositions interact.
Look at this. 5 Vipers on the way. Yeah, no, I've never seen Spore Swarm Host against Muta.
Yeah, and Muta's then taking out the Locust.
But I tell you what, he's making 7 more Mutas. We have 5 Vipers on the way. So 5 Parasitic Bombs upon those Mutas. That is going to be a massacre like we've never seen.
Maybe the Swarm Hosts are much more of a transitional tool into the game, you know? Where you get these units out, you force them to do something, and then there's a follow-up punch because they've teched into a certain direction.
I don't know. I just don't. I'm not sure. I mean, this is an exciting and cool and interesting game. I just want to know if I'm trying to figure out if this is like really smart and brilliant and changing to the matchup, or if it's just something where milk is going to come out of the nose of Sarah when he watches this. You know, he's going to be like, "Oh, I'm winning BlizzCon again. It's so sick."
Okay, he techs into Hydras now. Now, Hydras are good against mutas, but there's a lot of mutas out. I'm not clear on the exact number of Hydras we have here.
Yeah. He might be going into lurkers specifically.
I guess he could
but
Parasitic Bomb.
Well, Parasitic Bombs
and then,
plus a handful of Hydras should be enough to kill Infinity mutas approximately.
Yeah.
Parasitic Bomb is pretty insane.
I guess the remaining Hydras could take the fight. Dark did max out on this. Funny to see a guy who went Swarm Host then tech into a maxed out army more quickly. I guess it is against a player who went Muta Ling.
Yeah, that's definitely something that takes a long time to max out.
This game started out with unusual build orders and ended up in an even more unusual spot as we go into late game here.
Look, he's actually getting into lurkers, so he should like live, but actually Vipers counter that as well. Vipers kind of counter everything in this matchup.
Yeah. Okay, massive Ling run around here. Keep in mind those Lings are upgraded quite a bit, so they should eventually tear their way into that base. Can't hit that angle there, and I guess if you turtle up this hard on the 4th base, there is no angle that you can come in and ideally attack. Good harpooning there. Takes out 2 of the lurkers, 3 of the lurkers.
Man, well, he's making some more lurkers. He does have those spines as well. It looks like a knight is just straight up in the main base. Wow.
He might actually have enough. I mean, these lurkers are not going to finish in time to be useful. There's the Parasitic Bombs on all those mutas. That's so much damage with the Hydras comboed in here as well.
Oh my god. Oh man.
I think there's... Oh, how funny. Wait, what?
What am I even watching?
It looked like they were
now?
on a
This is
trampoline
crazy.
there. They just bounced up and then came down.
Yeah.
GG, Dark 1, and... Whoa. That was next level.
I have never seen a game like that. It is wonderful that in the round of 4 GSL Code S, we can see a brand new game. That was one of the strangest things I've ever seen.
I'd like to get an idea of what the other pros that are watching thought about that, because that was actually a kind of a weird game to cast because it was so unusual. We saw the Swarm Host tech, we saw it come out. It didn't seem to do that much, but then I guess it keeps the mutas kind of busy and it's easy to get away with the
Swarm
Host.
spores. Like
the spores are expendable, but it takes a lot for the mutas to fight them, and then I don't know. You know, usually with Ling Muta, you're able to expand more freely because you're in control of the game.
Yeah.
And they're having to react. What was weird about it is the Swarm Hosts didn't seem to pay for themselves in anything but time and map control. Normally, it's
those
in
are two great things, aren't they?
They are, right? But it's not what you think about when you think of that unit.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that game more. But first, let's hop into King's Cove for Game 2.
Fight! Gosu Crew, Dark.
So, this is so funny. From the macros, it plays into a 12 pool.
Jin Green Wings, Ro.
Well, he is showing that crazy range we were talking about, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I liked his build last game, but I can't imagine that strategy is something that Rogue has seen before. Right?
Well, we never know, behind the scenes.
I mean, I watch all the Korean games and a lot of the foreigner games,
but,
and a lot of those games are ZVZs, and I haven't seen it.
Seen anything like it either. No, I don't know. I mean, it's possible he had that, prepared, or maybe there's been a couple moments people have experienced some of that. She's at the very, very, very top of the ladder. But
to be honest, that looks like
what
something.
A game.
Oh my god.
Okay, so this is all in.
All in as you can get.
This is totally YOLO.
Yeah.
So he's going to try to go around the scout path, obviously.
Jeez.
Now the second Overlord is up. Is he going to pass through the scout path? Okay, he's going right around the 2 Overlord scout path. So the moment that he's going to see this is the moment that it arrives at his base.
Yeah.
And we have the 3rd hatchery making, the spawning pool about to finish. So Zerglings haven't even started to make yet for Dark, and already This attack is about to hit. Still not spotted. They won't be seen
this is
until they're on
hilarious.
creep. Look at this.
Wow. Well, Rogue's got his stuff prepped too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm going to go mine elsewhere.
Look at that.
Done
3
with that
spine
base.
crawlers thrown down onto the creep
Yeah.
to separate the 2 areas. The drones have nothing here to defend. They're still waiting, and they're eating damage every time they rotate through. Inevitably to be fenced in by these spine crawlers, which just are going to finish. There's literally no time to try to contest this. The fight goes down. It's the drones of both sides fighting in this as well, and it looks like it's just barely going to be a win for Rogue before the spine finishes. And with the spines here, I mean, you can do whatever you want. He can now try to move this onto low ground.
Yeah, look at this. He's trying to block it with the queen so the spine can't get down. Not enough. Okay.
Wow.
Well, that happened after a very interesting game.
That was pretty cool.
Spine rush. Yeah, it was very well mapped out by Rogue where to send his lings and drones. Dodged all scouting until literally the lings were in the main base.
Yeah, and I like the 3 spine setup there. Just even the place it's put in between the natural and the main, and in range. I believe it was in range of the spawning pool.
Yeah, it might have been. But yeah, it was like
either way. I mean,
made it impossible to engage.
Yeah, the only place
there?
it's even safe is the 3rd base, which is like, are we even going to talk about?
Yeah, well, he even canceled
there?
that because he's trying to get his minerals to make whatever he can.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't even see that. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, I mean, the point in case is that, like, talk about an insane killing blow. So we're tied up 1-1. When we go to game 3, it'll be in just a little bit after the short break. Don't go away.